Cities are basins of opportunities. Cities are where ideas take root because it allows people to mingle. People from many smaller towns come here to work and earn their livelihoods. And in turn, these are the citizens who help in driving national economies. By 2050, half of all Indians will be living in urban areas as the country undergoes a dramatic urban transition with deep economic, political, social, cultural, and ecological impacts. The scale of problem in the urban setup emerges when the cities begin to look like they are more likely to have been designed for cars instead of people.
The problems we have in Delhi of congestion, for example, of very high population growth is not unique to Delhi. It's a problem you have all over the world.
Basically, there is one road, right? Like this road, and you have everything to do on this road, right? So you have to walk on this road, you have to ride a bicycle on this road, you have to ride a two-wheeler on this road, and you have to drive on this road. This is not a wide enough road, right? This is a classic example of a Delhi road, which is from inside a colony, which connects to the main road or a ring road. What do people do? There is no option, right? Like if you see this two-wheeler guy, I pity this guy because there is one, the weather is hot. Second, there's a diesel car, gas guzzling on his face, and third, there is dust. So you can imagine the plight of this two-wheeler rider or this bicycle rider who's going back home. He'll be full of dust and pollutants. There is absolutely no fault of this guy in that, right? But I'm sure he doesn't even know if he has a, breathing disease, because they are so used to breathing the same pollutant and the same level of pollution every day that the body just gets used to it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Across the world, cities are encouraging cycling and not throttling it to death. In India, various state governments have suggested incentives for cyclists, although on the streets, it's survival of the fittest. Despite the fact that the Indian economy is often propped up and propelled by the cycles, they are seen as nuisances.
Cities like Delhi that have long histories have many layers of building, right? You see the monuments, and you see when you have clusters of monuments, that Mehroli was an old city, Shahjahanabad is an old city. So every city has its own kind of fabric, texture. Shahjahanabad and old cities across the country, in fact, in the northern plains especially, were tight cities, because the best way to protect against winds, sandstorms, high heat, high extreme cold, was to have these tight-knit communities with tight streets that would not get very hot in the summer, would not get too cold in the winter, there would always be shelter. The public realm was a kind of a shared realm, right? Even though in our older cities in Shahjahanabad there were more male realms, and the women were more indoors. Once you were outside, you were in the public space, and it was a space for everybody. Now in the new city, you see market spaces are one area, working spaces are one disparate area, and then one area you live. That's a kind of a suburban model of development. Like the American suburbs are like that. Only they're much more spread out, because the American suburbs are real sprawls. There's no place that's always active, right? Your home areas are kind of inactive in the day because most of the people are out. Yes, there's women if they're in the house, but they're mostly in the house. So the streets are kind of quiet and empty. Office spaces on the flip side are completely dark and unused on weekends and at night. shopping complexes. If you go to Nehru Place, it's a great place, it's a fantastic place in the day, but if you go at night, it's dangerous because there's nobody there. If you go to any garden, public garden, in the day is great, and most times it's closed at night. But my question is, why is it closed at night? If it's a public park, it should be open all times and it should be safe at all times. But it's not safe. Why is it not safe? Because it's like huge, vast spaces with little control and little, I mean, there's lighting, but just on the paths. So there's lots of dark areas. Similarly, on the streets, we have lots of dark areas. So a city that has these dark patches of inactivity is not only being inefficient in the way it uses space, it's also being inefficient in the way it moves people around.
A large number of people commute to Delhi for work on a daily basis. Public transport meets 60% of travel demand of this population. Unfortunately, it occupies only 5% of road space.
With making flyovers and making everything on both the ring roads without traffic, they've made it 2 highways in the middle of the city. And these 2 highways now divide actual physical colonies. Panchsheel 1 and Panchsheel 2 are divided by the outer ring road. In order to go from Panchsheel 1 to Panchsheel 2, which is a distance of less than 10-20 meters, you have to take an auto rickshaw if you value your life. That's how absurd things are.
While flyovers were constructed as an answer to the increasing traffic in metropolitan cities, we still don't have pedestrian-friendly streets. It's probably time that India's megacities learn from Sikkim's Gangtok, which has designated pedestrian sidewalks and walkways.
We also do studies on how people cross streets and track them, because you have to give space to people to, as per, you write in one way about human behavior, respect human behavior. So people want to cross on grade, on the road. They don't want to climb up and come down. To build a pedestrian overpass, did the car slow down and stop for that, 20 seconds? There's a fantastic system which started in Japan, where all vehicles stop for a short time, 20 seconds. Like currently, if you're a pedestrian, rarely do we have pedestrian lights, but when we do, you cross one way, the other side, the vehicles are flowing. They stop everything. It's called a scramble crossing. In no time people have crossed. But that's how people cross. They didn't start building pedestrian overpasses in Shinjuku.
Why can we not have 3-meter wide sidewalks? Given our population, we need sidewalks that are 3 meters wide on roads. And then within this space, within these 3 meters, we need clear space to walk, clear space to cycle, and clear space for the street vendor. Because nothing brings more safety to a street than a street vendor. If there's a long empty stretch of road at night, if I see one Momo guy on that street, I know I'm safe. If I don't see that Momo guy on that street, I'm freaking out. Every step I take, I'm freaking out.
The national policy gives street vendors a legal status. It provides legitimate vending and hawking zones in city or town master or development plans. Yet, vendors face serious challenges when it comes to stationing themselves on the sidewalks.
ये रिक्शा फिर से जमा कर देंगे। देखा कितनी लाइन लग रही, देख तो कितनी लाइन लग रही, देख तो कितनी लाइन लग रही, कितने इधर आ जाएंगे।
हम लोग जब जाते हैं सौदा अगर अपना सजाने लगे तो पुलिस वाले जो वहाँ के हैं वो मना करते हैं, कहते हैं यहाँ रोड पे मत लगाओ, यहाँ पे जाम होता है, रोड फलाना है, धमाका है, वो कहते हैं यहाँ पे मत लगाओ। ये बात गांव में हमारा खेती किसानी का काम है, अपना गेहूँ हो गया, धान हो गया, मसूर हो गया। ये जगह हमको अच्छी लगती है इसलिए तो नहीं छूटती है। चलो यहाँ पैसे से कमाई हमको हो जाता महीने का 10-15 हज़ार प्रॉफिट, तो अब सोचते चलो घर का भी खर्चा चलता रहता, बाल बच्चे हैं, 4-5 बच्चे हैं, तो भाई सबको सोचना पड़ेगा।
If you make roads that are only for the private vehicle, remove space for any kind of pedestrian movement, remove space for any kind of safe other safe navigability, then you're saying that this city is only for people who can afford a car. everybody else can fend for themselves. If you can't afford a car, you don't belong in the city. Find yourself a space in this milieu of buses and cars and auto rickshaws. Find yourself a space if you can, otherwise it's not my problem.
Vehicles remain parked for 95% of their lifetime. This creates enormous demand for valuable urban land. Only 14% of the city drives, yet most of the road space is occupied by them. As a result, Delhi has more number of cars than the total number of cars in Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and West Bengal.
The space is for 70 cars. At the moment there are 120 cars. So only 10-15 cars go in the morning. Rest they are here.
100 गज के बिल्डिंग में किसी की बिल्डिंग में 6 गाड़ियाँ, किसी में 4 है, किसी में 10 हैं। तुम क्या करोगे बताओ? जिसका दिल करता है गाड़ी के पीछे गाड़ी लगाता है, चला जाता है। हम लोग परेशान होते हैं बहुत ज़्यादा।
Is at least 30% of the streets or 20% to begin with in the city, you can say no parked vehicles, no parked automobile. Immediately you will start freeing up the space for other functions, but just freeing up that space for the automobile I think is counterproductive.
There is no direct means of reaching my office through a public transport. If I have to take a metro, I have to cross 17 stations or 15 stations, like from here to Central Secretariat and then change to come back to Lajpat Nagar. So it doesn't make sense there. So it's basically, I don't want to eat a kg worth of, dust, mud and some harmful particulate matter, which is, pretty high in Delhi in the past. For the past couple of months now, you can see here itself in the colony, one wheel passing through. There's absolutely no space to even walk. How does it make sense to even cycle? Which is exactly why I've stopped riding now and I take a cab to office.
At a time when the country is undergoing through a rapid rate of urbanization, it becomes critical that Indian cities redefine their public transport system and create favourable spaces for their pedestrians and non-motorized vehicles. This is Priyanka Verma for WION in New Delhi.